Hi, I'm Leah Hextall, and I got next.
You next up and you ain't been on SportsLifeTalk. Like, what are you doing? Hey, you better hit him up. Look, you breaking it, so you up next. Keep the coins go hard. Rise and star on the big scene, make them know who you are. You don't break the sweat, don't settle for less. They put you through that test, your resume that flex. Who got next? Who got next? SLT, first say go. Who got next? Who got next? Living my dreams and all your goals. Who got next? Who got next? You can ask 𝐥𝐤𝐤𝐿, your head coach. Who got next? Who got next? You next up, so here's my vote.
Yeah, SLT Nation, welcome back to another fire episode of Sports Life Talks. You got next, a platform that gives exposure to the voices of tomorrow. That's right, rising stars to accomplishing big things and living out big dreams. And today we got a special one. Kevin, I don't know if this is a nomination one, but we got to drop a bomb or something for this one because we're going north of the border, ladies and gentlemen, and we got the OG Trailblazer in the building. That's right, the first female, and I'm just gonna call it the first female because I mean she done the first everything. Sideline hockey, first time for the college men's hockey tournament, college men's hockey championship. Oh my goodness, and the great things are on the rise. We're gonna tell you all about her story in just 1 second. How you doing today, Leah?
I am great, B. Jones, and Kev, it's so amazing to be here with you guys. I have to say, I don't know if I'm cool enough to be here. This is how I feel. I feel like, I don't know if I'm cool enough to be here, but I'm going to try to hang with you boys today, and I'm just so thrilled.
Well, we know you comfortable around the boys because your story is crazy, and plus, you got MC. I saw you had a title MC at one point in time, so anybody who's an MC could get on the mic with B. Jones, you know what I'm saying?
That's right. I know what you're saying.
Hey, well, check this out. If this is your first time joining the show, I want to first and foremost thank you for tuning in. We know you could have been anywhere else and you made us a part of your life, so hopefully you'll stick around and hang with us. But I am your host, the mouth of the South, B. Jones, the Louisiana Mr. Yeet himself. I'm rocking alongside of my co-host, my brother from another mother, my colleague, the head coach, KT. Kev, you went to Canada again, huh? I see you putting on the frequent flyer miles, huh?
B. Jones, you know what I always say on every show? Slide in their DMs. You never know what will happen.
Well, this one...
Good motto for life.
Hey, it's another first, huh, Leah? You got another first, right? The first. You know what, Kevin? This is the first. I don't think we've ever had a hockey person on the show before, have we?
You are correct, sir. This is the first.
Leah, you are the first hockey person, so this is going to be a banger. This is going to be a banger. Hey, check this out. Before we get started, we need y'all to do us one quick favor. In Sports Life Talk tradition, please allow us to keep this awesome momentum of 2022 going and growing. We need you on the count of 3 in family tradition to smash that subscribe button. Leah, is y'all with us? Your people rocking with us?
I'm with you. I knew this was coming.
All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3. Ooh. Hey, well, welcome to the family. Like I said, Kevin and I, we don't do fans. We don't do followers. We do family members. So now you're officially a family member. Go check out over 215 episodes of Sports Life Talks. You got next. I'm telling y'all, there's something in there for everybody. And before we get started, I want you to write down a few names because this episode, you're going to need those names at the end of this episode, all right? Well, all right, Leah. Well, in the moment of truth is upon you. You are world-class record setter, trailblazer, and you're about to be the first hockey person on the show to go through the Sports Life Talk initiation. Are you ready for this?
I'm ready. I'm feeling it.
All right, let's go.
All right, to initiate you into the SLT family, you have to give us your top 5 music artists.
Okay, this isn't even fair. It's so hard, but I am going to do my best here, and I'm going to get it for these ones. I think, your family, especially your parents, because they control the stereo on all those long rides back in the day when you were kids. So they were my first influence on music. So a lot of this might come from them. But the Beatles were huge. One of the first groups I remember hearing. Elton John was massive. My mom turned me on to Whitney Houston, and to this day, she is still, you know, I Want to Dance with Somebody is going to be top of my playlist all the time. You know, going from there. Michael Jackson was massive for me as a kid, growing up, still today as an adult. And then I'm a huge country music girl, especially 90s country. So that's in there. But right now, I gotta say, I'm loving Lizzo. She has very quickly become one of my favorites. Her new, I'm just going through it. I'm a little behind because it's been a busy summer. I've been traveling, but she is right now. I had her on at the gym, and I'm just really, really loving her sound right now. So that's what I'll give you for now.
Hey, so you be in the gym. All the rumors are true. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah. Today, like I heard, like, you know, and she won an Emmy last night for her reality show.
Yeah.
And you know, I just think I love that she just is doing her thing, and she's so freaking talented. And I think the world needs that right now. So I'm falling in love with her very quickly.
Well, Leah, let me plug our Wednesday night show real quick, because we had the same debate, Leah. We had the same debate, and I was the only one that fell on the sword for Lizzo. Okay, all of the family members dogged her, and I was like, Lizzo cold, y'all. But y'all come check us out Wednesday night at 8:00 p.m. Central Standard Time. We have these types of debates, right? When it's off the cuff sports talk and pop culture and all that good stuff. But go ahead, Leah. I'm sorry.
B. Jones, I like how you left out the part. It wasn't about her music. It was about something else we was talking about. But I like what you just did right there.
Yeah, like that's probably it. Like I think that's 5. Did I not give you 5?
No, you not
5.
Yeah, okay.
Hey.
It's so hard. Like that is it's like favorite movie, favorite bands. I love music so much. It's just hard, but I did my best to try to narrow them down.
No,
but
you did good. That was legendary. So B. Jones, go ahead and give a 5. Give a 5.
Count them up.
Yeah. I mean, it was legendary and Lizzo. So that's
and Elton.
Oh yeah,
she had Beatles. Yeah, that was a classic list.
You know what's funny, B. Jones? I had the Beatles song in my head just in case.
They're just classic. They're just, you know, and just 4 guys playing musical instruments, 2 guitar, you know what I mean? 3 guitars and a drum, nothing fancy, just writing music, playing it, and just ruling the world. And it's still around today. So I mean, it's still there.
And what's the one song that's talking about? Look at all the people or something like that. It's always on the commercial. I can't remember.
Oh God. I can't think.
You know which one I'm talking about, though, right?
Yeah, I heard this song before.
So many songs that it's hard, except for, you know, some of the, you know, the classics like, you know, Hey Jude, Let It Be, all that. But some of their best stuff is on their B side. So
Now, they didn't think they was gonna come here and get no Beatles anthology tonight.
The Beatles, they're pretty dope, though.
Yeah, leave us your favorite Beatles song in the comments. I want to hear what everybody out there think about the Beatles.
I have an English mother. She immigrated over from England. So, you know, I have some very English influences in my life.
All right. So give us some of your favorite sports teams.
So this is another hard one, because I don't know about you guys, but when you cover sports for a living, very quickly, you don't look at sports that way anymore. And it's actually crushing. But when I was growing up, my cousin Ron played net for the Philadelphia Flyers in the National Hockey League. So Philly, you know, and the Flyers is a team that I cheered for from the time I was 8 all through his playing career. So the Flyers still, to this day, I still care about them. You know, but now my cousin is general manager of the Pittsburgh Penguins with, you know, Sidney Crosby, Evgeny Malkin, all those guys. And so I kind of cheer for them as well. I worked in Boston, so I covered the Red Sox when they won the World Series in 2013, and, you know, kind of fell in love with the city and the Red Sox tradition and Fenway. But I don't really have a team, sad, that I cheer for. It's just because when you're covering sports, it just kind of goes away. And if you say, oh, I cheer for these teams, guess what you're going to get back? Oh, they're biased. She's biased, especially when you're calling games. Right?
Oh, yeah.
It's so obvious you want this team to win. And you're like, no, I'm not cheering for any teams. I don't even have a favorite teams. I have more like favorite athletes and favorite players, but I don't really.
I was going to ask you, is it more of just an athlete and players type thing? Yeah.
Yeah, and like, I mean, the world is not as good of a place now that Serena Williams is no longer playing. I mean, it was
right.
You know, it just, you know, just watching her. I mean, what a career, and I was listening to a podcast about her today, and, so you look at athletes, and that's where you just enjoy the journey of athletes and watching them just excel to those, levels that you don't even know can be accomplished.
And it's funny because B. Jones and I talk about this all the time since we've been doing this show. It's hard to enjoy the game because we're rooting for the coaches that we know and the players that have come on. So we
Kevin, I heard her called the Flyers versus the Blackhawks, and it was clear bias. I'll do that. It was clear bias.
No. I've heard that before. So,
hey, that's the last thing she needs because I'm pretty sure we're going to talk about that later. All right, so the last question I got for you, Leah. Who is your favorite superhero and why?
My favorite superhero. That's a great one. Immediately I will go with Wonder Woman because, you put on that cape and the way she goes. And I just think what she represents. I work with a mental skills coach right now, and we just finished this exercise about your alter ego. What is your best self? What is your worst self? And you take something that emulates all these characteristics. And the one that for my best self, I have Wonder Woman. Because it's like, she's got the all the garb on and look, that outfit, come on. I mean, it's hot, it's so, and then she puts on the cape and away she goes. And when she does that, she's bulletproof. And, and that's how, I want to feel when I'm doing my job. I want to be in control. I want to be powerful. I want to be bulletproof. So, Wonder Woman to me is one of those emblematic superhero symbols. And plus, I don't watch a lot of the Marvel stuff. I can totally say that. So I don't know a lot of the new superheroes. So that's the thing. But they all seem to be recycled anyway. So
yeah, the classics are the best ones anyway. I hate to say it.
Yeah.
Right. So Diana Prince, since every good superhero needs their own theme music, what would your theme song be?
My theme song. So this is kind of like a walkout song, like when
Yeah, just if you coming out. Yeah, it's just your song. The song that's for you.
Oh, that's a great question. That's so hard, you guys. Right now, the first thing that's popping into my mind, and I am a Canadian girl, is I would probably go with Drake. Started from the bottom, now I'm here.
Oh, started from the bottom, now we're here.
Yeah. Just because just over the last few years, just what I've done, and if not that, just because I'm percolating now, because you guys got me thinking, maybe it might be 𝐤𝐤𝐬𝐷 on to the next one. Because I'm a big believer, like once you hit something, let's go. So
you know your hip hop though. I'm impressed. You know your hip hop.
I saw Jay-Z at Fenway Park, and my goodness, it's still one of the best concerts. He was with Justin Timberlake, and my goodness, the show he put on, he was so good. So yeah, he was great.
Well, B. Jones, I knew it was going to be hard to shake somebody that's in the media, but she just killed my initiation. So
she part of the family, man.
Yeah, so go ahead and take it away, man.
Here, that's great. Thanks, boys.
Well, Leah, you did awesome. That was amazing. I know everybody who watched that enjoyed that as well. But let's peel back the onions on this thing because we got some stuff to unpack here. We got some stuff to talk about. Now, first, you said your family immigrated over here, right? So tell us a little bit about where you're from, kind of coming up.
Well, my mom came over from England, from a place called Exmouth, over in England, and it's a couple of hours outside of London, just to give people kind of a geographic idea. And she came over on the boat back in the day, and she was only 8 years of age. And so, she's been in Canada for a long time, but technically I'm a first-generation Canadian because my mother is an immigrant. My father is from Manitoba, the province of Manitoba in Canada, and my dad is the one with the Hextall last name, and for those who do know hockey, Hextall is a very big name in the game.
Yes.
There are 3 generations that have played in the National Hockey League. My grandfather, Brian Hextall, who I refer to as Pops, he's a Hockey Hall of Famer, played for the New York Rangers and, led the league in scoring. And in 1940, scored the Stanley Cup winning goal for them in overtime against the Toronto Maple Leafs. So when I go to games at MSG Still, his banner is hanging in the rafters. And when I do games there, it's such a special place to see it. And there's people there and just the history of him. And as soon as I walk in, people know that I'm a Hextall. My grandfather was Brian, so a very, very big name in the hockey world, and had two uncles who played, and then my cousin Ron, who I alluded to, was a goaltender that, for those who would know, he was a very physical goaltender. He still holds the record for the most penalty minutes for a goalie. He scored a couple goals. He was the first to do that, and then he actually was quite a player. He won the Vezina Trophy, which is, the top goaltender, and went to the Cup final a couple of years. So my dad's side is the big hockey side, and my dad himself won a national junior title and played and went to an NHL training camp, but just didn't quite make it back in the day. So that's kind of the two sides of me. My mother is this incredibly intelligent English woman, and I grew up with English grandparents and very influenced by that. I mean, I was heartbroken when the Queen passed away this week and last week now, and and I've been over there, and incredible family over there, and boy, can they crush a cider at the pub. I mean, we're Canadians, and we're known for our beer drinking, but there's not, the Londoners have everything on us. So anyways, it's just, those are the two sides, very athletic side. And then my mother who, brought a lot of art and, made sure I played the piano, because she's like, my girls aren't just going to be jocks. So I have a very artistic side to me too, theater, etc., music, which comes from my mom.
Yeah, that's awesome. That is super awesome. So it's fair to say that your cousin Ron was one of the Broad Street Bullies, huh?
Well, he came a little bit after that, but I mean, the Broad Street Bullies, that's just the culture, right? That's who that's who the Flyers are. So he was very beloved there because he fit right into that style.
He was fighting every game, putting them hands on people. Well, so you sounds like to me you had only one clear cut path. Now, I know a lot of families who they specialize in one thing, and then you'll see somebody who goes and strays off the beaten path and does their own thing. When did you find a personal connection with hockey, or did you just look at Paul and you was like, oh man, my grandfather doing it? Or so when did you form your own relationship with hockey?
That's a great question, because I think, people automatically assume because I am a Hextall, well, of course she would do hockey. Right. I didn't play the sport growing up because, quite frankly, when I was growing up, there were no female leagues because women's hockey really, it didn't even get into the Olympics until the late 1990s. So,
wow.
You had to play with the boys. And I mean, hockey, you guys have seen it. It's a very physical sport. So my dad was like, listen, as soon as they start hitting, she's not going to be able to play. And then she's going to miss out on all these other sporting opportunities. So I kind of played everything else but hockey. But my draw to it just simply came from sitting around kitchen tables, listening to story after story of different generations and incredible stories, such living oracles that my family were. And not just them, but they knew so many people in the game. So when you hear about it all the time and you grow up as a Hextall where I'm from, it's just very clear that hockey is a huge part of your identity and who you are. But for me, I always loved being at the rink, and I can't explain it till this day. Like, I love walking into a rink. I love immediately when you walk in how the air just changes because there's that hint of cool. I love after they flood the ice and it's just that perfection. It looks like a sheet of glass and you're just sitting there like, okay, what story is going to be told now on this perfection because these players are about to come out and play. So I just loved being at the rink. I loved being outside on the pond skating and just playing games of shinny, which is like pickup hockey. So that's how I grew up as a Canadian kid. And in Canada, hockey is our sport. It's not like in the US. We don't have, we have one baseball team and we have one NBA team, and then the rest is hockey. And, it's what football is down there is how I kind of explain it to people. And it's just such a big deal up here. So, I was just always kind of gravitated towards it. But I truly growing up never thought that I was going to end up doing what I'm doing today.
Well, we're going to talk about that in a second because, and before we do, I want to say that y'all deserve another basketball team. That's all I'm going to say. Canada deserves another basketball team. I don't know why they got
WNBA team. That's what we really want.
A WNBA team would be nice.
WNBA team so bad. They're going to play, I think, an exhibition game here next season. So we're hoping that this is the start to maybe getting a team up here in Canada, because that would be amazing.
It's coming. So now I know everybody's curious, so you found your lane, you fell in love with hockey. You kind of got me wanting to go to a hockey game. You talked about the sheet of ice and the glass and the cool brisk. I'm like, man, that sound pretty badass right there. I'm like, God, I got to do that. But so tell us about how did you get into broadcasting though? Because I mean, you're an amazing, you're articulate. I could tell you got a certain energy and passion behind yourself. How did you get into the broadcasting booth?
Well, B. Jones, what happened there was growing up, I knew as soon as I had to do a presentation in school or a speech, which most people cringed and it was their worst nightmare, I knew I was getting an A. It's just always been something that presenting has always come easy to me, and also something that I really enjoy. I was the kid who entered speech competitions at art festivals. Like, that's what I'm talking about. I loved to do public speaking and just the creativity of putting thoughts together and entertaining and all that type of thing. I did a lot of plays growing up, a lot of musicals growing up. But then again, I'm a Gemini, right? So there's two sides to me, being the twin symbol. And the other side was my whole life was playing sports. I mean, volleyball, basketball, baseball, badminton, golf, everything, everything I could kind of soak into. And I loved it. My best friends to this day are still a lot of people that I grew up playing sports with. So I just finally sat down. I thought I was going to be a lawyer coming out of high school because the two texts told me I should do.
You would have been a good lawyer, though.
I think I actually would have been okay at it, just probably because it cost too much. But the fact is that, that's what I thought I was going to do. I went to school for a couple of years, hated every second of it. When you aren't doing something, for me, that you love or have passion for, I'm a big believer that without passion, true greatness cannot be achieved. I truly believe that. And I did not have passion for schooling, and it's not cheap to go to university, as we all know. So I got out and worked for a year, and my parents always said to me, do something you would do for free. And then, you'll basically never feel like you worked a day in your life.
You won't work a day in your life, yep.
And I married my sports, which have so many of my happiest moments, and I love competitive drive, and I just love competing. And I married it with the public speaking and the dramatic side of me, and I came up with broadcasting. And from there, I applied to a school, got in, and away we went. And I went out to school in Vancouver, BC, and then, ended up getting my very first job in my hometown of Brandon, Manitoba. So, and started there at a very small station, but it was, just the best thing that could have happened to me.
Now, Leah, you could have took that degree. You could have ran and hid and played, did women's volleyball, women's softball, women's tennis. There were so many sports that you could have went in and said, hey, this is my lane. This is what I want to be an expert at. But you decided to tackle the family business. You took it back to your roots. And now every picture I see you with, it's like you and a bunch of guys. It's like you are part of the boys club, and you go in head first. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the show, you had so many firsts. Tell us a little bit about this transition, and what kind of mentality do you have to go into these types of environments and still maintain your level of confidence and just passion, and so everybody in that room can feel like, hey, it's a Hextall up in this thing.
Well, I'm not going to say, I'm not stupid, right? So strategically, when I started in my career, first of all, there weren't tons of women doing it. I was usually the only female in the room. It's not like today. And I was an anchor, I would host, and I was a reporter when I started, and for years after that. And, I've always just loved the game. Just like I said, love being at the rink. I love the game. I think the sport of hockey, I put it up there against anything. And the reason I do that is because you're not on your natural center of gravity. You are doing this on an ice surface on a blade. And these athletes are just so incredibly talented. And so I've always loved it. So, that was an easy thing for me to gravitate towards hockey. As much as I love other sports, that was the sport that I really loved. But the fact is, I went into my career, I worked hard, finally got a job in Boston, which was a huge break, working for the New England Sports Network. Boston is a city where all they do is win. You're down there talking to Tom Brady all of a sudden. The Red Sox are winning the World Series. I was there when the marathon bombing happened. There was just all of these things that occurred in somewhat of this perfect storm. And then, Hockey Night in Canada, which for a Canadian kid growing up, came knocking on my door and offered me a job to cover hockey full time as a host. And that was the dream job. When I first started in Brandon, Manitoba, that was the dream. But unfortunately, 2 years into that, they had massive layoffs, and I was one of them. And then, guys, I couldn't get a job. All this experience working on national networks. I, worked for ESPN at the World Cup of Hockey, all these things on my resume. And I kept getting passed over in those traditional roles I had held as a host and a reporter. And that's when, I remember saying to my agent, I got really strategic and I said, where can I be in a class of one? And the answer was play-by-play. And there was no women doing it. And I had no idea how to go about doing it because I didn't have a playbook. But I knew the sport, and I knew that I was a credible broadcaster by that point. And I was working in politics of all things. I came back home to Manitoba, got a job in politics here, a very high-profile job, high-functioning job. I loved every second of it. I have to say it was good for me to see I could do something else than be Leah Hextall, the sports broadcaster. But while I was doing that, on my weekends, I was going out to small towns and calling play-by-play at the rink for no money, to no audience, into my phone. And that was how I started. And I did that for a while and, started to see a little bit of improvement. I loved how bad I was. I loved how hard it was. I loved the challenge of it. It was the first time for many years in my career that I felt challenged because in the roles I had done before, I felt quite comfortable. And I'll never forget this because Sidney Crosby, who I'm assuming you guys have heard of before, he's one of the best hockey players.
Who was that?
I remember asking him when I was reporting for Hockey Night in Canada, here's a guy who has nothing to prove to anybody because he's done it all, right? Generational player. And I remember saying to him, Sid, are you comfortable with your game right now? And he looked at me and he said, Leah, if you're comfortable, that means you're not trying hard enough. And this is the best player in the world. And I'll never forget that. So when I think about the play-by-play when I started, even though it was so uncomfortable, it was time for me to get uncomfortable. And that's what play-by-play did. It forced me to try something new, to not be afraid to suck at something new, and to go and maybe try to push the needle forward a little bit and open some doors that hadn't been open before and get back into the business, quite frankly. I'm not going to take that away. It was a strategic thing as well. And I'm very fortunate that the same company who laid me off, when I picked up the phone and called them and said, I know you guys have a women's package and I would love, to get a shot at calling it, they said, let's do it. And I started calling the women's game. That led to ESPN noticing me. I became the first woman to call the NCAA men's hockey tournament. And then from there called an NHL game. And then from there ended up getting a job with ESPN when they became the national rights holder as the first one to call play-by-play full-time in the NHL. So it sounds maybe easier than it was, but it was a grind. And, and now that I'm here, it's an even bigger grind. And it's even more difficult.
Yeah, that's my last question. That was going to be my last question. But that story shows how fearless you are. But that's my last question. Every time you go on, there's a million eyeballs, and half of those eyeballs, I'm hoping, are young ladies who get the opportunity to look at a male-dominated game, and they look at the TV, and all of a sudden, they were playing with their Legos, and they heard a woman's voice, and they look back. Is it a woman calling this game? Like, what does that mean to you? To represent the minority in this sport and just be a shining light and a pedestal or a platform for young ladies to model and emulate as they get older, and to basically change the game. You're changing the narrative every time you perform. What does that mean to you?
Well, first of all, I have to say I give ESPN full credit because they hired with intent. As much as they knew that I was a credible broadcaster, I didn't have NHL experience. They could have had their pick of the litter, but they knew that I needed an opportunity. And they were willing to look at my potential and open the door so that a new voice could walk through it. And then it's up to me to do the work, right? And that's what I have to do to get better in the forum. But for me, the why, every single day, no matter how much social media hate I get, no matter how much I hear even within the hockey community that I don't belong, because it happens. It's new and change is hard. And I understand that. The why every day is the dad who sends me a DM. Always slide into the DMs, as we say, because it's important, with a picture of his little girl watching the TV, and he's writing me saying she looked at the TV and said, Dad, it's a girl. Because she'd never seen a girl doing that. She'd never seen someone who looks like her, sounds like her. And probably more importantly, guys, when I have mom say, you were calling, and I called my son up to listen to you. There's going to be a whole generation now, if I can keep going, of NHL fans who are not going to care that it is a female voice narrating their hockey game. And right now, we have a whole generation that do have a problem with it. But we are looking to the future, and for me, that's the why. And I have, some incredible young women reaching out to me who know now that this is a possibility for them. And when I was growing up, I didn't know that this was a role that could be fulfilled by a female, because I did not see any females represented. And, the more we do this, the more we create diversity of thought, which creates conversation. And, I don't have to tell you, gentlemen, it's not just gender, it's people of color. It's all the way through it.
That's right. That's right.
Of opportunity, and not always hiring the most qualified candidate on paper, because how do you become the most qualified candidate if you can't gain opportunity or can't gain the experience because of lack of opportunity? And we haven't had the same opportunities traditionally. So it's time to start thinking outside and looking for people who are qualified, but just need the opportunity to bring in that diversity of thought so everyone can continue to move forward and learn. And we're getting there in the hockey world slowly. But I just appreciate being a part of that movement, and I'm very proud to be a part of that movement.
Well, I tell you what, hey, if y'all hadn't, go check out at Leah Hextall on Instagram. Go check out some of her highlights. I'm telling y'all, she know what she's doing. If you one of those idiots who don't watch hockey because of females, man,
you don't love sports.
I would get fined. I would get fined to say what I want to say, but I'm just telling you, shame on you. All right, Leah Hextall, this is the part of the show where Kevin and I, we go against each other, and now you are officially calling all the shots. Welcome to the championship rounds. I know your cousin, he loved that sound. He was like, "Oh, Leah." Hey, but I'm about to put Kevin in the penalty box. All right. So here we go. Have you ever played a game called Would You Rather before?
I have.
All right, so the rules are very simple. Okay. Kevin and I will both present to you an option. You select one of those options. Whichever one you select, that host gains a point. The first host to get 2 points, or the best out of 3, will win this episode's game of championship rounds. And I don't know who got the belt right now, Kevin.
You know what? Honestly, I don't remember, but I think it was Bland's episode. Didn't I get it?
I think you wanted to, man. So it's time for me to win it back. All right, Leah? So it's time for you to win it back. Or we're going to have to do a line change. Wait, your cousin in the room so I can do a line change if I don't get the answers I need?
Well, I'm sure you're going to get the answers you need here.
All right, well, here we go. Brandon, Manitoba. Let's stand up. Here we go. Round number 1.
All right, would you rather become the owner of your own NHL franchise or
become a legendary Hall of Fame broadcaster for any professional team of your choice?
Oh, I'm sorry. I would rather own my own team. Oh!
You can't do
Wasn't that one of the options?
No, you didn't choose his, so that's why.
Yeah, you didn't.
That's what I would rather do.
No, you want to own your own team?
Oh, then you're your own boss. You get to hire people. You get to call the shots.
All right. That's all right. I like it. All right, I subscribe. Okay.
Hey, B. Jones, you can't treat her like that, man.
Round number 2. Here we go.
You didn't know that her family is a family full of fighters, B. Jones? You really want that?
I know, man. Hey, but I respect Ron, though, man. Yeah.
There you go.
All right, so round 2. Would you rather host your own cooking show where you interview athletes and celebrities as they take you around their favorite place to eat in their hometowns, or
play skinny, as you called it, in your own YouTube series with featuring professional hockey players playing in the cities that they grew up in? So kind of going to the rinks that Sid grew up in and being able to interview him and talk hockey.
I would rather the second this time, guys. Yeah, I think I love going to rinks, so I love seeing old rinks, so that would be awesome.
It's the money sign, right? She gets the money because, okay.
Yeah, she answered correctly. Yes. All right, round number 3 and the final round. Here we go.
Oh, no. It's the rubber match.
Would you rather the Leah Hextall Trailblazer Award named for you for the next female that comes up in journalism to be given a scholarship, or
would you rather have a shoe made by Nike named after you and the proceeds go to multiple scholarships to females who want to attend colleges?
Oh, I'm sorry, B. Jones, but totally the shoe by Nike. I mean, can you imagine? Jordan has his own shoe. Of course I want my own shoe. I mean, the other stuff is good on it too, but I'm so superficial that I would just love to be like Mike and have my own shoe.
And still champion, the head coach. Thank you so much, Leah.
Well,
I'm able to hold on to the belt. Another show.
Congratulations. And B. Jones, I wish
you better luck
next gig.
Well, y'all better next time for the next episode. Y'all hang out with us. Hey, but Kevin, in the hockey world, she was offsides anyway, so it don't count. It don't count. All right, Leah. Well, you talked about the future and how you're so progressive, but the title of the show is all about the future, right? It's You Got Next. So tell us, what is your plans for the future? What do we have to look forward to as if we follow your career here closely over the next couple of years?
Honestly, the season starts here in the NHL on October 11th. I will be in LA doing the game between the Kings and the Vegas Golden Knights, and I just want to continue to get better. It's my definition of success is very simple. It's a new skill. I want to get better each and every game and just continue doing something that I love doing.
So, were you calling any games in Dallas?
Last year I did. I don't have anything in Dallas on my schedule yet. I have the Stars. Actually, the first week I'm calling the Stars against the Nashville Predators, but the game's in Nashville.
I never did
Leah, the Stars going to be better this year because I was so excited when we went to the finals. I'm still mad at Tampa Bay. It's hard for me to root for Tampa Bay right now because they beat us for the championship.
It's hard, but I mean, you know what? The Stars still have so much talent on them. I mean, losing, I could get into it, but Klingberg's not going to be there that year. But they'll be fine. And with what 𝐤𝐤𝐬𝐤 did in net, their goaltender, and they got him locked up for a couple of years. What he did in the playoffs, I covered that series. I covered the Game 7 where he made history. And yes, they didn't win it, and they lost in overtime to Calgary, but they have a bright future. And if you have a goalie in hockey, you got a chance, and that's the bottom line.
I like that.
At least we were alive, B. Jones, to watch him win in like 96. I think that's when it was.
Yeah, well, with Mike Madonna and Brent Hull.
Yeah.
Back in the day, back in the 90s, yeah.
All right, so do you have any shout-outs you want to give?
Well, you know what? I do have some shout-outs I want to give. The first and foremost is always to my family, because anything that we talked about here today, the only reason I've had the ability to do it is because the unconditional love and support of my mom, Liz, my dad, Randy, who I lost a couple of years ago and never got to see me call in the NHL, and it still breaks my heart today, but he was such a big influence. He was the one who taught me, what offside was, everything about the game. So I miss him terribly, but most of all, too, probably my sister is the biggest shout out I will get. I'm gonna steal this from Serena. Just like she said, there would be no Serena if there wasn't Venus. There would be no Leah if there wasn't a Lindsay. So just my family is my core, and this has been last season was a really tough season, being the first to do something. It was a little bit lonely. You were kind of on your own island, and it was my family that just kind of was pushing me up that hill like a big boulder all season long, and I just love them so much.
All right, so shout out to your family. So this is the part of the show where you get a chance to call out the person that you think should have next. Tell them, hey, I got a chance to rock with B. Jones and KT. I told them my story. I want you to do the same thing. With that said, who are you passing your puck to? I guess that's what we're going to go with, right?
That is a great reference. Who am I passing my puck to? I honestly, I'm gonna go to another female who's starting to do exactly what I have done, and her name is 𝐤𝐤𝐬𝐿and. And Kenzie became the first woman to call a junior hockey game in the province of Quebec a couple years ago, and she just finished calling the Women's World Hockey Championship for a network called TSN up here in Canada. Mm-hmm. And
I've seen TSN.
Yeah, she is doing her thing, and she's someone that I think has a bright future, and is just kind of starting out in her broadcast career, but she's starting as a play-by-play because she knows it can happen, and that means progress. The fact that she knows she can do this,
right?
That warms my heart. So I think she's somebody that I think is going to be a big part of the conversation in hockey in the future.
Yeah, I watch Canadian Football League on TSN all the time.
Yes, so look at you. Yes, I'm a winner. Yeah. We are the home of the back-to-back defending Grey Cup champions. So the Blue Bombers. So and they're killing it this year again. So
I'm a Hamilton fan. I'm a Hamilton Tiger Cats fan.
Yeah, Tiger Cats, the old Tie Cats. That's great. I love that you guys know the CFL. Yeah, great league.
Yeah. Well, Lindsay, You are on the clock. Kevin will be reaching out to you, and you are next up. But Leah, oh my goodness, I used the word trailblazer, not knowing. I think that we have to find a word that defines the next level of trailblazer, because you are like the genesis or the alpha. I don't know. You are amazing. You're talented. Your energy is infectious. You are fearless, sister. When I tell you, you are the truth. And Leah Hextall, you got next. Sports Life Talk Nation. Oops, we did it again. That's right. That was a banger, an amazing show. We hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. I promise you, we got many more to come. But wait, this is your last opportunity. Don't forget to smash that subscribe button. Hit that notification bell and be notified anytime we drop new content with new people, with new rising stars. And also, don't forget to share. Remember I told you to write down some names? Now you know why. There's a young lady that needs to hear this episode, and you are personally responsible for sharing that mission. We still giving out some free t-shirts?
Yes, it's come out of your budget, so let's do it.
Well, I lost championship round, so I'm broke. Hey, but check this out. If you go to our IG page at Sports Life Talk, tag in 5 friends, slide in our DMs, just let us know your address. We're going to shoot you over a Sports Life Talk t-shirt just for showing some love and sharing it. And don't forget, I shamelessly plugged it at the beginning of the show, but Kevin and I, we do go live. That's right. We have a real fun, high-level conversation with the family members cheering us on. It's an interactive show, so you can come be a part and participate as well. We go live Wednesday nights at 8 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time, and we stream on Twitter and YouTube. So don't forget, we've smashed that bell. You're gonna be part of it. All right. So Kevin, you feeling yourself? You got the hoodie on a little early, huh? Still September, Kevin. You cold already?
Well, I was representing Canada. Isn't it cold up there all the time?
It's cold, eh?
Yeah, it's starting to get fall-like here. It's sadly summer is over.
Well, all right, well, Kevin, I'll let you close us out, man.
This was dope. This episode spoke for itself. So if you don't like this episode, kick rocks. Just like Lizzo said when she gave her speech, y'all just go to you know where and kiss whatever you want to. Leah, thank you so much for rocking with us. You got 2 brothers here in Dallas, so if you ever here,
love it.
Dinner is on B. Jones.
Ah, got it. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you guys for having me so much. It truly, this was awesome, and I just thank you for reaching out and having me on.
All right, Leah, you got to sing this song with me one last time. You ready? Oh, I want to dance with somebody. I want to feel the heat with somebody.
We do that all day. Yeah.
Sports Life Talk Nation, we love y'all. Stay safe, be blessed, respect each other, and love one another, because together we are better. And keep dreaming big, because you never know. Your story may be the next one featured on Sports Life Talks. You got next. Yeet!
See, what's crazy is I knew you had next, because you always working, you always grinding, you're in your bag because you're always working. Like, in due time, I knew you got next. Oh, you did it, huh? Crack the code. You got next, you smashing goals. You want next, you need exposure. Well, Sports Life Talk got the baddest show, like the baddest hut in the room. Podcast to tune into just for you to talk your shit. Talk your mushroom. You are what you eat and you should consume. Sports Life Talk from the late night to the afternoon, then rest repeat. Hit the like, leave a comment, or subscribe so you don't miss a beat. You got next, it's a small taste of a winning meal from a chef type of celebrity. What's up next is you, at least you better be. Yeah, you got next, yeah. I can feel it, you're a winner just like me. You got next, and what comes next? Tune in next time and you'll see. Cause if you got next, yeah, if you got next, then you're just like me. If you got next, yeah, if you got next, then you know where to be. I'm talking Sports Life, talking this.